You remember it, don't you? Running outside after breakfast and not coming home until the streetlights came on. No phone in your pocket. No way for anyone to reach you. Just you and the neighborhood kids making up games until your legs were tired and your clothes were dirty. You drank water from the garden hose. You rode bikes without helmets. You got hurt and didn't tell anyone because you didn't want to go inside. Your parents didn't know where you were for hours. And somehow that was fine. Somehow you survived. This is Voices of the Forgotten, where human behavior is explained, where patterns, emotions, and hidden motives finally come to light. Let's continue. Now you look at the world today and something feels off. Kids don't play outside anymore. Everyone's face is buried in a screen. People can't sit still for 5 minutes without checking something, and you feel like a stranger. Like you remember a world that no longer exists. Like part of you got left behind somewhere between then and now. You're not imagining it. If you grew up in the 1980s, something happened to you. Something psychological. Something that shaped who you are in ways you've never fully understood. Tonight, I'm going to explain exactly what the 80s did to your brain. Why you think differently. Why you feel things others don't, and why you carry both a gift and a wound from a decade most people now only see in movies. Stay with me. This one is personal. Before we dive in, drop your country in the comments. The 80s happened everywhere, but it hit different depending on where you were. Let me see where the 80s kids are watching from tonight. Let me take you back for a moment. The 1980s were the last era of true childhood freedom. No internet. No cell phones. No GPS tracking. No social media watching your every move. When you left the house, you disappeared. And that was normal. You learned something in that disappearance that kids today will never learn. You learned how to be alone without being lonely. You learned how to entertain yourself with nothing but your imagination and whatever you found outside. You learned how to solve problems without Googling the answer. You learned how to navigate conflict with other kids without an adult stepping in every 5 minutes. You learned independence. Real independence. The kind that gets carved into your bones when nobody's watching over you. And that independence is still inside you today. It's why you hate being micromanaged. Why you don't understand people who can't figure things out themselves. Why you get frustrated when someone needs their hand held through everything. You were raised in a world that said, go figure it out. And you did. But here's the other side of that. You also learned that you were on your own. When you were scared, you didn't always have someone to tell. When you were confused, you had to work it out yourself. When you were hurting, there wasn't always someone there to notice. You learned to carry things alone. And you're still doing it. You don't ask for help easily. You don't open up quickly. You handle your problems in silence because that's what you've always done. That's not strength. That's survival. And sometimes it's lonely. Let me tell you something else the 80s did to you. You learned how to wait. You wanted to watch your favorite show? You waited until it came on. If you missed it, you missed it. No recording. No streaming, gone. You wanted to talk to your friend. You called their house and hoped they were home. If not, you waited until you saw them at school. You wanted to hear a song? You sat by the radio and waited for it to play. Maybe you pressed record on your cassette player and hoped the DJ didn't talk over the beginning. Waiting was built into everything. And that taught your brain something that modern brains don't understand. Delayed gratification. You know how to want something and not have it immediately. You know how to sit in the discomfort of not knowing. You know that good things sometimes take time, but now you live in a world of instant everything. Instant answers. Instant entertainment. Instant communication. Instant outrage. Instant everything. And part of you doesn't fit. You watch people lose their minds waiting 30 seconds for a web page to load. You see people abandon things the moment they get hard. You notice how nobody has patience for anything anymore. And you think, is it me or is everyone losing their ability to just wait? It's not you. You were trained differently, but sometimes that training makes you feel ancient in a world that moves too fast. Have you ever felt like you belong to a time that doesn't exist anymore? Like you're carrying something from the past that nobody around you understands? Tell me in the comments. I know you feel this. Let me tell you about the emotional silence of the 80s. In the 80s, nobody talked about feelings. Your parents didn't sit you down and ask how you were processing your emotions. Therapists weren't normalized. Mental health wasn't discussed. You were told to toughen up. Stop crying. Don't be so sensitive. Rub some dirt on it. Boys were told to be strong. Girls were told to be good. Everyone was told to just deal with it. And you did. You pushed things down. You built walls. You learned that feelings were inconvenient and showing them was weakness. Now you're an adult who struggles to express emotions. Who goes quiet when hurt? Who doesn't? Know how to ask for what you need. Because you were never taught that your needs mattered. You're not cold. You're not unfeeling. You're a child of the 80s still living by rules that were never fair to begin with. Let me tell you something about fear. You grew up under a strange shadow. The Cold War. The threat of nuclear destruction. Movies about the apocalypse. News that made it seem like the world could end any day. You did drills at school where you hid under your desk, as if a desk would save you from a bomb. You absorbed a low-level anxiety that something terrible could happen at any moment, and you carried that quietly because what could you do about it anyway? That fear didn't disappear when the Cold War ended. It just found new things to attach to. New worries, new worst-case scenarios running in the background of your mind. You're not paranoid. You were trained to expect the worst. Let me tell you what the 80s gave you that nothing can take away. Resilience. You fell off bikes and got back on. You failed and tried again. You figured things out the hard way because there was no easy way. You weren't protected from everything, and that made you strong. You can handle discomfort. You can survive uncertainty. You can sit with problems without falling apart. You have a toughness that was built by a world that didn't bubble wrap you. That's not nothing. In a world that's getting softer, that's everything. But you also carry something heavy. You carry the grief of watching the world you loved disappear. The neighborhoods where kids played outside are quiet now. The simple joys have been replaced by complicated everything. The connections feel thinner. The pace feels wrong. You miss something you can't get back. And sometimes that ache has no words. You're not just nostalgic. You're mourning. Mourning a world. Mourning a childhood. Mourning a version of life that made sense to you. That's real. And you're allowed to feel it. If you grew up in the 80s and this video made you feel seen, subscribe to this channel right now. This is what we do here. We explain the psychology behind who you are. Not just what you do, but why you became this way. The forces that shaped you. The invisible experiences that made you you. Hit that like button. If you remember drinking from the hose and being home when the streetlights came on, share this with another 80s kid. Someone who gets it. Someone who remembers. Send it to them and say, this is us. Drop a comment and tell me your favorite memory from the 80s. Something small, something real. Let's turn this comment section into a time capsule. I'll see you in the next one. And to everyone who grew up in that decade, you're not old-fashioned. You're not out of touch. You just remember what the world felt like before it forgot how to slow down. That memory is a gift. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. This is Voices of the Forgotten, where human behavior is explained, where patterns, emotions, and hidden motives finally come to light.